Okay, take 3. False start. Is this better? Is anyone still here? Is anyone with me? Is anyone with me? Oh, what a nightmare, eh? This is almost as terrible as Spurs transfer window, isn't it? Right. This looks better. This does look better. She says for a minute because it's just got a bit blurry. Okay, we're just gonna have to roll with it. Maybe I need to do like an update or something, but I really, really appreciate you all bearing with me. Have we signed anyone in the last 5 minutes? Has anyone been signed? What's the latest? Okay, so we've got just over an hour until the window closes. I have seen that we brought in James Wilson, although I don't know too much about him. I'm going to be honest. He looks like a young kid, which is just what we need. Just what we need. A young kid. Hello. Hello, Hotspur Stam. Hello, Jabby. Hey, guys. Before we begin, actually, I just want to do a very quick shout out because I think this stream is going to be better than what it was before. So I just want to do a very quick shout out just to say thank you all so much for sticking with me, first of all, for this stream, but also to our brand new Quiz Collective tribe members. So obviously I mentioned the other day, Wayne, I don't know if Wayne Bonner, if you're around today, but shout out to you again. And welcome to Totspur63 and Silver Dove Pictures. So welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the Quiz Collective tribe. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys in the chat and dotting around. So appreciate you here. Groundhog Day. Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's to do with the transfer situation or if that's to do with the live stream. But yes, it is a bit Groundhog Day, isn't it? But yes, welcome to you guys. Welcome to the membership. Welcome to the tribe. I look forward to all that's yet to come. And yeah, I guess the stream today was going to be about the game yesterday. And we was just going to do a quick debrief. And I know that we've got about an hour till the transfer window closes. It doesn't look like there's much movement happening. So because I've had to close everything on my laptop, you have to bear with me because I've got everything open on my phone. But I'm going to trust you guys in the chat to let me know if anything happens as well. So I've got everything up, Fabrizio Romano, all of that jazz. How did we all feel about the game yesterday? How do we all feel about the game? Do we have a transfer situation then? Nothing yet. Well, I haven't heard anything. The mole hasn't leaked anything today. How coincidental is that? How coincidental is that? Right. How do we all feel about the game yesterday? How did we feel about the game yesterday? It was kind of a game of two halves, wasn't it? It was enjoyed it in the end, loved the comeback and the atmosphere. Yes, Job. Yes, it was a bit one of those days, wasn't it? It was a bit of a day of two halves. The first half was an emotional roller coaster, as you could see from my video. There was a lot of frustration playing out ahead of that game. Just because, look, we never expected to, I guess, win against City. You know, we know that they're competing for the Champions title, right? So it was a very tough feat to expect us to win that game, and it was very unlikely. So I've just seen that Sunderland are doing some movement. Right, I better put that down for a minute. So I can see the chat now, by the way, guys. Before I couldn't see the chat, but now I can. Yes, I heard that as well, Domenico. Someone said Daniel Levy's brother-in-law was sitting in the dugout. Maybe he's the mole. Can I bring these in? Can I feature these? Can I don't know. How do I? Oh. I don't know. I don't think I can pin you guys. This sucks. This sucks. Hi, Sisters Road. I'm just working out some the main software, but I can't feature your comments on here. Now I see why other people use StreamYard. And I don't know why it did that on StreamYard, because it films absolutely fine when I do it on replay and I can see me in HD. So I don't know why that's happening. So I can't feature you guys, unfortunately. Does it let me do that if it's a super chat? I don't know. I don't know if it lets me do that if it's a super chat. How annoying. Okay, right. Well, we're just going to roll with it, and I'll read out you guys as you pop up on my screen. So the game yesterday. It was a game of two halves, one team. That is Tottenham Hotspur, isn't it? Two halves, one team. The first half, we go in, we're thinking, oh my goodness, could this be the day that we manage to turn over City again? And is this going to be the day where we can potentially win a game? But alas, that was not yesterday. First half was a very, very stressful watch, I've got to tell you all. The atmosphere was just so quiet, and we kind of expected it. A tale of two Man Cities. Yeah. It was a bit like that, wasn't it, Domenico? But yeah, it was a bit of a funny atmosphere, because I think even from the off, it was quite quiet. And yeah, okay, it was horrific through the TV. So it wasn't too bad. There was like on and off chanting at points, but it just died down very quickly. But look, you do kind of expect that. If you're losing, you do kind of expect that. At 1-0, it was kind of like, I guess in a different game, the fans maybe get behind the team. But because our home fans have been so used to that going behind, I think we just all had enough, and it was almost like self-defeat in a way. It was almost like, well, 1-0, we didn't really expect much. We could not get out in that first half. And you could see we were making so many sloppy mistakes at the back. Unfortunately for Dragusin, it was a very tough first game for him to come back. Look, the guy hasn't played in since May? Did he even play at the end of last season? He was barely sort of, you could see he was struggling. And obviously City are going to come and attack you. I don't know whether the fact that our squad was leaked had anything to do with it, because look, at the end of the day, if other people know how you're lining up, they can clearly see what your tactic is going to be, So it's one of them ones, isn't it? Like, you can't get out. Basuma in midfield, after having that blinder against Burnley, he was all over the shop yesterday. And I don't know whether that's partly to do with the fact that Mickey wasn't behind and creating that security. We were a bit loose on the right back as well, because we didn't have a right back, playing poor Archie Gray there, who seems to be our hero in all situations, Archie Gray. Archie Gray, bless him, he comes in and can take any position on the pitch, and he's just happy to play there, although he did look very leggy towards the end of that game. But yeah, our right flank just wasn't clicking. It wasn't working up front. It was all of just a bit of a mishmash, and it was funny tactics. And I don't know where, obviously now in retrospect, we know that Romero was unwell, which makes sense of why he was flagging in that first half. But we didn't know that at the time, right? We were just watching the game and we're thinking, Romero looks very slow against this City team. And Dragusin's been cut open. Basuma's not causing them any security in front. Gallagher clearly wants to get involved, but perhaps at the very beginning of the game, he was still trying to get into it. Him and the Basuma partnership is not one that's tried and tested. So it was a completely new setup, especially with Paulinho as well, sort of floating into that back line. So you've got this back line where you haven't got your central defenders, and then you've got sort of like a bit of a mishmash. So yeah, the first half was a bit wavy. It was very emotional. And I can see you guys in the chat saying, if Romero wasn't ill, then I don't think Frank would have made changes until 60 minutes. Yeah, you cannot play 2 against their 3 in midfield. It's madness. Shouldn't have set up like that. But perhaps that wouldn't have happened if the lineup hadn't been leaked. We would never know that. But it's self-sabotage if obviously someone's telling the other team you'd line up. But look, given the personnel that Frank had fit, he couldn't have played anyone else. He could have maybe changed the formation, but then I guess you're sort of, maybe you're putting a 4 at the back and Paulinho goes in front and Archie Gray's still right back. So either way, you're in a position where you're not playing your first right fullback, and you're also not playing your ideal two centre back. So either way you spin it, it was not a very good first half. So you saw from the vlog at the first half, everyone's going, "Oh, we want to go home." And thankfully, I'm not one of those fans that wants to go home at halftime, because the second half revealed to us the real character that Spurs have. We change formation, Romero goes off, there's Sarr comes on, there's a little bit of a reshuffle in midfield. We obviously pull Archie back, and so our back four at that point then becomes Udogie, Dragusin, Paulinho and Gray. So I did think we looked a little bit more secure, and I also think Sarr looks better than Basuma. Sarr, I said this last game, and I stand by it. Sarr looks a better player than Basuma. What do you guys think? Do you think Sarr's a better? I can see, Job, you've said Sarr. I think Sarr played better than Basuma. I don't know what you guys think. Basuma is one of those characters where he can have a blinder, but then he can just like fall off the cliff. He's probably taking too many balloons or something. We know he's a bit of a reckless character. So I don't know if that unsettled nature that he has then comes onto the pitch and unsettles the team as well. And then he can become a bit of a liability. So I am glad that Basuma came off at 68 minutes, but I am glad that Sarr came on because he added that lift in the midfield. Kevin, what are you saying? James Wilson, under 21 player, is strong, tall, fast player. That's a good potential for us. So I said before, Kevin, I don't know if you're just tuning in, but we had to start this twice because of dodgy connections and dodgy streams. But yeah, I don't know too much about him, but we will go back to the transfers. But if anything drops in the next hour, we're into the last hour now. So if anything drops, I'm relying on you guys to write it in the comments, but I have got up some notifications as well. So yeah, we go into the second half and things are shaping up a little bit. You can kind of feel the momentum kind of shift. And then within 10 minutes of the second half, Solanke goes and scores his first goal, which is a fantastic cross from Gallagher. And we're all like, yes, come on, we're getting back into this. We can feel the momentum shift. The fans start to lift a little bit. We've got a little bit more shape about us. And we just looked a little bit more attacking. I think Xavi definitely stepped it up in that second half. He was really pressing. I think in the first half, he got a little bit drowned. And I've said this before about Xavi. He's got such potential to be that flair player for us, but he is still young. And he's got this mindset where he's still playing for like Barcelona and everyone else is playing for Tottenham in 17th. So sometimes the connection between Xavi and the other players, they're just not on the same wavelength. And it's going to take time for them to click. And I think Solanke showed that in the second half, him and Xavi could really connect. And then when Odegaard came on, things really started to click. And that's when we saw, that fantastic scorpion kick from Solanke. I mean, what a goal. That was an absolute wonder goal, wasn't it? We were all loving that one in the stadium and they kept playing it back. And you're watching the pitch thinking, I hope the players are still carrying on with the game. And we're thinking, we can go on and win this. Yeah, okay. Job, you've just said the same thing. I just loved it when Solanke scored the equaliser. I felt we were going on to win it. Yeah, we felt that there was something that we could go and do in that game. And look, I predicted 3-2 to you guys. I said to you 3-2. I knew we were going to concede a couple of goals. We've conceded 2 goals in our last 3 games in the Premier League. So it makes sense. You're playing City, so you're probably going to be open at the back. But it's just a shame. It's just a shame that we couldn't push it over the line. And if we would have started the first half and really pressed more, then I'm sure we could have got more out of that game. But unfortunately, that first half really cost us. It cost us those 2 goals, and it also cost us in not being able to get out of our half. It was crazy. We just could not get out. And it was almost like watching Frankfurt in the Frankfurt game. It was like Spurs had turned into Frankfurt and we were just being run over. So it just shows you, I guess, the flip-flop nature of Spurs, because sometimes we say it's game to game, but this was one game of 2 halves, literally. Stradders. Hey, Stradders. Deadline day. Deadline dismay. Yeah, I know. We're feeling it. 55 minutes to go. Xavi is so good. The other players just have to align to him. Yes, Yes, Yasaf. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think he's an outstanding player. And if we can get the best out of him, if we can get the best out of him, he is going to be that shining star for us. And Solanke, you can just see the quality that we've missed. I know, I don't know. Is anyone here like not a Solanke fan? Is anyone here not a Solanke fan? I know people are dropping in and out and whatnot, keeping an eye on the news, but is anyone not a Solanke fan? Because I think Solanke, he is leagues above Richarlison. He is absolutely leagues above Richarlison. He's way better than Mawani, but I think Mawani has had trouble settling in. So I think we really missed that quality. All we can do is hope that he's not too injured and didn't roll his ankle too badly. And especially Archie Gray as well. Oh my God, at the end, it was like watching Bergvall those few games ago when Bergvall went off and he was running into the ground. Gray towards the end, it was like watching him and he was being run into the ground and you're like, take him off, you know, in the back of your mind, but you're thinking, who can you bring on? And in the end, he brought on Byfield. And to be fair to Byfield, I mean, he saw out the game, you know, he saw out the game for what it was at that point. But yeah, it was one of those stressful moments watching Gray being run into the ground. But, you know, to give it to Frank, he had no one else to bring on. You've got Romero playing ill. You've got Solanke, who's got 70% in the tank and he's playing. You've got Archie Gray, who's played back-to-back games and he's not even a right back. You've got Byfield, a 17-year-old coming on. I mean, you couldn't write it. And here we are sitting 50 minutes before deadline time and we haven't signed anyone. So look, in all, the game, look, we have to be happy with a 2-2 draw. Other than the fact that the only person it really helps is them lot up the road. And you saw my dad even at halftime joking that, you know, the Gooners are probably smiling about that. But that point will help us. That point will help us. It will. Look, people are saying we're fighting a relegation battle. I personally don't think we are, but you can't sniff at a point against City. And if that gives us a bit of confidence and momentum, you know, why can't we go on and beat Newcastle? Why can't we go on and take a point or beat United? I think it's going to be hard to beat United at their place. I really do. But you know, out of that run, we can surely take something from Newcastle at home. Surely we can. If we get behind the team, there's no reason why we can't. Hey guys, jumping in. Hello, we're doing a debrief on the game yesterday, and we're just sort of waiting on deadline news information if there is any. Lange is probably still sitting there in the dark. Yeah, well, there was no Paratici at the game with his phone on. Not that I saw, but someone's just said in the chat that Levy's brother was there or something. Someone said Daniel Levy's brother-in-law was sitting in the dugout. Maybe he's the mole. I don't know. I don't know if Levy would do that. He's still trying to get rid of his stake in the club. If Levy wanted to do that, surely he'd do it after he sells his stake in the club. I don't know. But yeah, look, all in all, you can't sniff at a point against City. You know, it's considering the run that we've been on, at the end of the day, we are unbeaten in our last 4 games. They're not wins, but we're unbeaten. And so that's the upside. You know, if you want to get momentum, I think it's more positive that you're not losing games, because last year, our biggest concern with Ange last year was that we were losing games and we weren't drawing enough games. So look, if you can draw against City, it's not a win, but we'll take it. So yeah, what are you guys saying in the chat? Okay, some of these names I can't read because they're not English, and I can't feature them, guys. I'm really sorry, but we had some tech glitches, so I don't know how to put you guys on the screen. But I'm going to try and sort this out another time. So we've got from Kane to Solanke, can't be a flex. Yes. Look, you're never going to replace Harry Kane. Unfortunately. He was a player for the ages for us. You know, he's a legend for us. He's always going to be a legend for us, in the same way that you've got, you know, Jan Vertonghen and Bale and Dele Alli and Son. He's going to sit up there, and maybe Xavi's going to be one of those players for our future. Unfortunately, with Solanke, he hasn't been that fit since he's joined us. If Solanke can get a full run of a season, I think he'll be really good for us. But as I said in my last video, he's fighting to get into that England squad. He wants to get into that England squad. Maybe he was practicing that scorpion kick because he wanted to get noticed to be on the team sheet for England. Who knows? But yeah, look, Solanke's not going to be a replacement for Kane, but no one is. You know, we've just brought in this young kid, James Wilson, and I've seen that floating about in the chat. I don't know what he's about, but he's one for the future. We needed first players for now. We needed first players for now, you know. James Wilson, 18 years old. He's played 1 minute, 2 minutes. He's played 1 minute and 2 minutes for Hearts. He's a young kid. He hasn't started. He plays in the Scotland under-21s. He's one for the future. Maybe he's going to replace Dane Scarlett. Maybe he's going to replace Elisha, the guy we just signed as well, who was also a forward. So we've just brought a couple of young forwards. So, you know, maybe they've recognised the gap that we have in the unders. What else are you guys saying? 4 points from the City this season. Can't complain. Yes, Stradders, I agree with that. We need 9 points from the remaining 14 games. Yes, exactly. West Ham, they're what, 9 points behind us? I can't see them making that up. We're not going to get relegated, guys. I think that was just all overexcitement. Yeah, West Ham need more than 9 points. West Ham need more than 9 points. People were saying they're 9 points behind us, but they've got a goal difference of -19, and we've got a goal difference of +2. So even if they get 9 points and they win 3 more games than us, they won't go ahead of us. They actually need 3. They need 3 wins and a draw to get above us. Okay, West Ham, they're not going to finish above us. I can't see them winning 4 more games than us with the goal difference. -19, guys. They've got -19 goal difference. And besides which, you've got Forest down there as well. They're only 6 points off. So we're not going to get relegated. Don't worry. But it is a shame that the news at the moment is we're not buying anyone. Hey guys, jumping in. Yusuf, am I worried about Solanke? I've been saying that he has been missed. Richie is a super sub and Mawani is just not good enough. Tell is good from the wing. So the thing with Mawani is an experienced, mature player. He's 27. He's one of the maturer players in our squad. The thing is, once you're a bit older, I think it's hard to be as adaptable. And look, you've got young players coming in like Tell and Odebear, and you can see they're like fighting for the shirt. Obviously, they're signed, so it's a bit different. But Paulinia has played in the Prem before. Gallagher has played in the Prem before. They are older, more experienced players, but they've played in the Prem before. For Mawani, he hasn't played in the Prem. He's played in the Champions League, so he's unproven in the Prem. And I do think that, unfortunately for Mawani, he hasn't managed to get the respect from the fans because he hasn't been performing, and it's kind of affected his confidence. He hasn't been able to score, and I think that's really affected him. And look, Spurs fans, especially, we're so unforgiving. We are so unforgiving. So it's hard if he was a young player, I think he would get the support of the fans, like Mikey Moore. You know, you'd get the support of the fans. You'd give the player grace, a bit like Tell has been given grace, even though he's not good enough. But because Mawani's an experienced player, he's not getting that same treatment. And he isn't good enough for an older player that we want to have in our mixer to be starting. You know, he's not, unfortunately. And based on what he's shown us, you probably wouldn't sign him, which is maybe, obviously, we heard talking about transfers, is obviously Juventus made signings as well. So they've covered their stopgap, so they don't need Mawani back. And I reckon Mawani might have even wanted to go back to Juventus, but unfortunately, we haven't brought anyone in. So it's a bit of a catch-22. And Lange, what are you doing, mate? Has anyone heard from Lange? Does anyone want to give Lange a call? Does anyone want to give Lange a call? Maybe give him a quick dial up and just see. If he's engaged, that's a good sign he's on the phone and bringing someone in. Bring on the North London derby, Kevin. Come on, Xavi and Solanke. Yeah, I don't know if we can beat Arsenal, but look, if we could take a point from Arsenal like we did from City, I'll be happy with that. Michael, hey Michael, welcome. Great new channel. Thank you. Love the content. Hi from Ireland. Hello from over the seas. Who's this? Hotspur Sam. The bro-in-law is the tall, bald-headed chap and is employed as the player liaison officer. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if he was fetching Romero his medication at halftime. Kane was better than Greaves, irreplaceable. Yeah, depending which era you're from, every era you're from. I was saying after we won the Europa, I was like, Son is going to be the player from my lifetime that I always remember. I remember Dele Alli. I remember I remember Ericsson and Vertonghen, Alderweireld. I remember those players. Adebayor, Pavlyuchenko. I think Pavlyuchenko was probably one of the first players I saw play. Soldado. Oh, guys, we haven't moved very much since those days, have we? Expressions oozing is not happy. He is fuming. Big Spurs fan. Yeah. Sorry, expressions. Look, we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. Job. Wilson has been bought for the under-21s. Yeah, that's what we thought. We have Mason Melia too when he turns up. Yep, Hotspur Sam. We have not Mason Melia. Look, we've got a lot of young kids. We've just brought Sousa in. You've got Mikey Moore. You've still got Dane Scarlett. We've got Lancashire, Donnelly. You've got so many kids out on loan. We need first team. Anyone? Is there any news? Can someone give Flange a call? Why is nothing happening? Oh no. Arsenal have just agreed to sign an England under 19. Okay, so obviously that James deal was probably dependent on this Jaden Dixon, who's just joined Arsenal under 19s. But we don't care about them. Get in our lane. Who are we buying? Right, who's next? Sorry, guys, if I've missed anyone. Mason Melia should be fit and is in the first team. Supposed to be an amazing young striker. Yeah, Vuskovic. That was the guy I was thinking of as well. We were lucky to get 1 point yesterday. Yes, John, I completely agree. At halftime, if you would have told me end scoreline would have been 4-0, I would have believed you, to be completely honest. I've just spilled some tea. So are the board not signing anyone, as they will be replacing Frank at the end of this season and keep the money for another manager? Richard, this is what we were saying yesterday, to be quite honest. If the board is not buying anyone, they are not backing the manager. It's as simple as that. Because you just go out and you get someone on loan. And you worry about it at the end of the season. I think Robertson was probably someone they were trying to get out on loan. I think Robertson was someone. I saw that Liverpool have made a signing, but I don't think it's for the same position. So I can't see that happening now. Just keep refreshing my page to see. I can't hear any noise, guys. I don't know if anything is going to happen. I'm just going to carry on. Right. Youssef, yesterday showed us Solanke is so good and Mawani not good enough, in my opinion. He was just off Xavi. Those runs he made on the counter was so poor. Good energy, but his game IQ is so alarming. I just don't think he's up to the pace of the Premier League. We know it's a very physical Premier League. Do you know what? I think players around Europe, they underestimate how competitive the Premier League is. We all talk about this season not being top tier quality in terms of, flair and how teams are playing, because the game has slightly changed in the Premier League this season. But it's not unfair to say that the caliber of the Premier League in general is better than Europe. And there is a striker crisis across Europe. You don't have a lot of good strikers across Europe at the moment looking to move, especially now. You're a few months away from the World Cup. It's one of those seasons. Melia is a fantastic prospect. I've seen him in the League of Ireland, and from a 17-year-old did some special stuff. Hopefully he will get over his back problem ASAP. Oh, does he have a back problem? That sounds Spursy. But good to hear that he's a good prospect. Hi, Sarah. Just got in. Any news? Hi, John. Not that we know of yet. Lange is watching paint dry. Domenico, give him a call. Someone go knock on his door. Wake him up. If I call Lange, he'll probably sign me and I'm 52. Do you know what? He'd probably sign Frank to get his boots on, to be honest. Why not get one of our coaching staff to go out there? The board aren't like Levy now, and they have Vinay and Lange for all that, plus their man Peter Charrington to run things. And do you know what, Hotspur Sam? I think as well, because Paratici as well is probably checked out by this point. His heart is probably already in Italy. Like, he don't care. What does he care? He's leaving next week. Paratici. It's just a shame that Rafi didn't come in and start the job before the transfer window, because that's also set us back. Oh, someone sent a super chat. Our first super chat. Havertz goat. Havertz goat. Thank you so much. I love Thomas Frank. He has the second best hair in the league too. My goat. Are you mocking us? Are you trolling us out there? But I do appreciate the super chat, so thank you very much. What currency is that? I don't know what currency that is, but it's appreciated. Thank you. Big up to you, Havertz goat. Are you a Spurs fan? But it's fine. If you transfer me enough, maybe I can go out and buy some players. But no, big up. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. You are our first super chat on the channel. And as I said at the very beginning of this, welcome to our new members as well. The ball, yes, we had that one. Cheers from Florida. Found you in my feed last night. I'm glad you guys are finding us. We have the best tribe here, even if I might say so myself. But you guys would probably agree with that, right? We have the best tribe here. Who needs to go to Expressions and watch the Gooners in the chat? Sorry, Expressions. Not that he's going to watch this. EDM, Lange can't take any calls at the moment. He's busy watching Hollyoaks. Yes, maybe. My era was Martin Shivers. Oh, that sounds like my dad's era. That sounds like maybe I'll have to get my dad on. Dad, if you're watching this, you can come on and give everyone some memories. You can do a walk down memory lane with people. Hey, you left out Rebrov. Who's Rebrov? Kate and Jimbo. Shout out, Kate. Hello, Kate. I don't know how to feature people yet because we had some technical difficulties. So I can't pin your message in the chat because we're not on StreamYard. But yes, I do use StreamYard usually, but the signal was a bit rubbish. But shout out to Kate. If anyone likes Spurs content, Kate and Jimbo, awesome. Yay, I finally made it. Hey, Liquid Len. Lange is just signing kids. Yes, that is a problem. Expressions is always fuming, be it is good or bad. Yeah, look, we're inside, we're all always fuming. That's the life of a Spurs fan. We fuel on the pain that this club gives us. Like, we know better. Right. The only news today that almost made me lose it was Tonali linked to Arsenal. Oh, God. They don't need anyone. But it just goes to show you. That the teams that don't even need anyone, like City, Arsenal, Liverpool, they're all reinforcing. They're all buying people. And here we are sitting 14th in the league with like half the squad out. I guess the only saving grace that we have is that we've got a bit of time to breathe until our next game. That's the only saving grace that we've got at the moment. I've just realized I don't even know if I'm using my mic. Or you guys are getting the mic from my... I don't even know. YouTube and me, we're not friends right now. Sort it out, YouTube. Right, where are we up to? The board of signed players. Gallagher is going to be a great player for us. I'd get loan deals at this point. Yes, John. John, do you know what? I do agree with that. I think Gallagher is going to take time to really click for us. And I think he was better yesterday. Look, he's only played 2 games for us. And he's also got to get up to match fitness in the Prem. He's been sitting on the bench. He hasn't been starting first team, so it's going to take a while for Gallagher to really pick up his pace. And also, he himself has been playing with different players as well every single game. So he's been playing with different players every single game. So sorry, I just thought there was movement, but alas, no. I'm still sitting here waiting on it. To be fair, Romano hasn't done anything in the past 15 minutes. So, but yes, I agree. I think Gallagher is going to be a good player for us. And I think him and Paulinho, I don't know why we haven't signed Paulinho. Why have we not signed Paulinho? It makes no sense. Surely that is a no-brainer. Like, you have to sign Paulinho, surely. You have to sign Paulinho. No? Does anyone not agree with that? You have to sign Paulinho? He's got to be a player that you sign. I can't believe we haven't signed him, to be honest. What else we got? The EPL is just so physical, both in play and the demands of matches. Players underestimate how rough it is to adapt. Yeah, that's true. I think it just takes time. It does. And because we're so thin as well, you're expecting a lot from players very early on without connecting a synergy within the team. Sometimes it takes time. And this is why I think sometimes the second half of the season can benefit you a bit more. We've got a more relaxed schedule. We've got a bit of time, between games to recover. Hopefully Solanke, Archie Gray and Romero, I hope this evening are like sitting with their feet up with ice on, taking their paracetamol, whatever they take to build up their strength for the next game, because we've got a whole week now. Saturday, we play United. This board have bought Kudus, Simmons and Gallagher. Three great signings, in my opinion. Yes, I would agree with that. However, Simmons was almost a forced signing because Maddison was injured and Kulusevski was injured. So they had to sign a 10. They had no choice but to sign a 10. And I think Simmons was actually a player that was already on Ange's radar from last year, in my opinion, just based on some things that he said at the very end before he got fired. He said that we needed to bring in players with experience, not necessarily old players. And Xavi Simons is exactly that. So I think the Simmons one was maybe a forced signing. Gallagher, I think that was a very good signing. Gallagher, I agree, was a very good signing. And Kudus, I potentially think that they knew that Johnson was going to go. I think they knew Johnson was. They knew Johnson wasn't good enough, and maybe they couldn't get Johnson out fast enough in the summer. So maybe Kudus was brought in. You had Odebel on the right, and then Johnson was pushed out. And then obviously, because we bought in Kudus, we then sold Johnson, and unfortunately, then Kudus got injured. So it was all a bit messy with Kudus. But yes, Kudus was a good signing. Whether he's going to be our best signing, I don't know. But Kudus was a good signing. I'll give you that. This board have bought Spades. My thing is, why does Thomas Frank talk about the first half, second half? It's a game from A to B. Is halftime a weakness? I don't know, Days of Nick. I thought halftime was an opportunity where we stepped up. Oh, I can see a name. No, are you guys joking? Is something happening? Is something happening? Is something happening? I can't see anything, guys. I can't see anything happening. Don't get me excited. If we can't get what we need to improve the squad, then we plod on. This window is notorious, and we might have to wait for the summer. Frank will be backed in the summer. Well, let's hope Frank's backed in the summer. I think that's going to depend. I still think the jury's out. I don't think, look, Frank's talking and presses as if he's going to be here for the next 3 years. I'm not so convinced. I think he needs to prove himself. I think if Frank gets like maybe in the quarters or the final 8 of the Champions League, and we maybe get like 12th, then he'd get some grace. Or if we get through to the next round and we finish 10th, maybe as well, he'll get some grace. But if we finish like 14th and we're at the next round, I think there will be question marks. And look, you can't move forward. You can't move forward if they're divided, even though he's saying they're aligned. What else have we got? For some reason, guys, my heating hasn't come on and I'm a bit cold, so I might need to pause this, but I don't even know how to pause this. God, I hate this. YouTube sucks. Sarah, these top teams do that to deny other teams players of quality, not just to improve themselves. Yes, Domenico. Well, Chelsea definitely do that, don't they? Because Chelsea, just by bloody anyone and everyone, Chelsea, oh my God, they've got like an endless stream of money. They don't even care. They don't even need half their players. The same as City. We were after Oscar Bob. He then went to, we weren't after Oscar Bob. We were after Savinho, and that didn't play out. I mean, City don't even need these players. They do not even need these players. Arsenal, I don't know. Arsenal have been building for a long time. Look, they've been building for a long time. You've got to remember, City have been building, and they've had a lot of money come in because they've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League, so they can do whatever the hell they want. You're right. He has limited game time, though he was great yesterday. Busy box-to-box player, Enoch out. Bentley will always be remembered for that goal with 4-4 with Arsenal. Spurs should sign 40-year-old Luka Modric. Can you imagine? I think that's more Delulu. I think that's more Delulu than expecting Kane to come back. Oh, dear. Oh, Modric has still got it, hasn't he? It's crazy. He would. This is the thing. Modric would not be out. He would not survive in the Prem. Modric would not survive in the Prem. He's still got it, but not for the Prem. And look, that is why players like Son left. Son probably still had one more season in the tank, but it's a good job he left now, because otherwise he would have left like Salah is maybe going to this summer. And Salah, obviously, there's been a lot of controversy over Salah, and he hasn't had the best season and he's dropped off. They're the same age. And sometimes, to keep your legacy and, to protect your body and your own fitness, maybe it's the time to move on. So, yeah, I don't know if we want Modric back. We don't need to sign Paulinho there. He's here till summer. I love his efforts. It's contagious. Okay, fair. That's fair, John. That's fair. People want to wait out. I just kind of think it's like a no-brainer signing. But you're right. Maybe they're waiting for someone better. Maybe Paulinho was the stopgap. Maybe he was. Arsenal City may not need anyone, but are still making moves because they understand in today's football is all about squad building. That I agree with, Yosef. Yeah, exactly. We need to be building a squad. You need rotation. Look, is it at the moment that we haven't bought anyone because we're waiting for players to come back? No, they were signing Morgan Gibbs-White before Maddison got injured. Yeah, that's a fair point. Was that on the Stratas? Was that on the Xavi point? Was that on the Xavi point? Because that fell through, and then that came about very late in the window, didn't it, Xavi? Yeah, so maybe you're right. Maybe they were after him. Guys, I'm just going to check my heating. Give me 2 seconds. 1 minute. Okay. Have we signed anyone yet? Guys, have we signed anyone yet? It's not going to happen, isn't it? It's not going to happen. I can't even hear any movement. Al Hilal. No, that doesn't benefit us. 20 minutes, guys. I don't think anyone's going to get signed. But where were we up to? We can have a moan about that in 20 minutes when it's over. Mindbender, hello. Agree. Sell someone who means they want to challenge on all fronts. I don't know what that means. If we lose against Man U or Arsenal or any point, Frank has to go. John Lee. If we lose against Man U or Arsenal or any point, Frank have to go. Yeah, that's not realistic though, is it? It's not realistic. You can't just get rid of the manager if you lose against Arsenal. That's ridiculous. We never beat Arsenal. We never beat Arsenal. So you can't go game by game thinking to sack the manager. You can't go game by game to sack the manager. It's not realistic. Look, the players yesterday in the second half, they looked like they were up for it. They looked like they were playing for the manager. They did. To me, it looked like they were playing for the manager. It looked like. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I just realized. Can you guys hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. I hope you guys can hear me. Modric is as a player coach with a view to progressing him to the manager's job if he wants to go that route. I mean, I'd have Ben Davies as the player coach. At least he loves the club and he's loyal. At least he's loyal. Xavi will be our Modric. I'd go with that, John. I think Xavi has the potential. I do. I think Xavi really does have the potential. It's just building the team around him. We've got to build the team around Xavi at the end of the day. Like when you have a 10 with that quality, look, I'd still say that Maddison at this point in time is probably better when he's fit. Problem is, even when Madders comes back, it's going to take him a long time to get fit. And the reality is, Madders is not going to play in the Champions League this year. He's not going to play. He's not going to make the squad. He won't make the squad. So, look, it's good. It's good that you've got Xavi who's coming up and building, because next season, then you've got Xavi and Madders competing. And I know people think Madders is washed and he's past it, but he's not. He's a player going into his prime. He's in his late 20s, but that's prime for footballers. That's not young and it's not old. You know, we're only looking at it that way because our team is so young, you know, but 23 years old is young. You know, I think Madders is what, 27, 28, maybe 29. He's still young. Like he's not 30s. So I think he's still got more in him. There's got to be some kind of cash flow problem. I can't think of any other reason why we haven't invested in the squad beyond the few pounds net spend on Gallagher and Sousa. I kind of agree with you, Mindbender, but it's weird because there was a 100 million cash injection at the beginning of the season after the transfer window closed. So where's that 100 million? And we also know we have 45 million in our back pocket from the Champions League. So where's that money? I think it's more to do with the right players aren't on the market for us right now. Mick, what a disgrace, 18-year-old kid from Hearts. I feel your pain, Mick. I feel your pain. Yeah, we needed to reinforce. The fact we haven't signed Paulinho just shows our recruitment. Well, Yusuf, someone said in the chat that we've got him till the end of the season, so it's not all bad. Evening, Godfrey. Hello. I say boycott the remaining home games in protest to a poor window. That would give food for thought to the board. Yes, it would also leave me about £1,000 out of pocket. And I think that's why when people talk about protesting the board and all of that stuff, you go to the games to watch the team. You go to the games to watch the team. And as my dad said, if you're protesting the board, you don't walk out of the game. The board aren't playing the game of football. You need to hurt the board in other ways. And that's not through leaving a game at halftime. It's just not going to happen. And when you've paid, 1,500 quid for a season ticket, plus you're paying 100 quid for a Champions League game, you're paying like £1 a minute to sit there. Like you're not going to miss every game from now until the end of the season. It's not realistic. I know people are suggesting it, but it's not realistic. You cannot get 60,000 people not to go to a game. Unless, I don't know who has that kind of power, to be honest with you. But I don't think anyone has that kind of power to completely. People aren't on board with it. You've got to allow a couple of windows to see what's happening really behind the scenes, because the only evidence we have is like what we're seeing right now. And this, realistically, this is the first transfer window. This is the first transfer window for ENIC. And I'm not saying that because I'm happy with the situation. I most certainly am not. Like we need a forward player, 100%. But at the same time, this is their first window. So, and there's a lot of change happening. The guy who's bloody in charge of our transfers has decided to go on holiday. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got no one doing the job that you need them to do. It's crazy. Oh, dear. Yes, we can hear you. Okay, good. I'm a bit behind in the chat, guys. Spurs signed Sarah. The game between Chelsea and West Ham just showed importance of a squad. The manager tried rotating for Arsenal on Tuesday, and they were down 2-0 by half-time. Sub at half-time, they went back at it. Yeah. This Prem season is so unpredictable. This Prem season is so it's so unpredictable. I do agree with that. Who's this? Cisse signs as new AC Milan player from June. Nope, no news coming in yet. Well, you've got 15 minutes, Romano. Lange, get a move on. Nothing's going to happen, guys, is it? It's so quiet. It's so quiet. I just can't. Normally, we hear something. Normally, at this point, you would have heard something. Deal now signed for Vargas to go to Atletico Madrid. Okay, well, they're just replacing Gallagher, probably. Nothing. No movement on the Western Front yet. Who runs the chess and book club when Davis leaves? Oh, don't say that. I'm going to be so upset when Davis leaves. Yeah, the last one of that era. Just shows you how fast the game of football really goes. In a decade, it's like completely a new squad. Like, these players don't have long at their peak. Xavi has huge potential. Wherever he has gone, he has figured out every time. Yeah, I agree. I think Xavi does have the potential. It's just whether he has the teammates around him and the patience of the fans to allow things to click, because I think next game, I think the United game for us is going to be a big test, because that City game could have been like a bit of a turning point. So can we use that as momentum to move forward? If we draw against United and beat Newcastle and maybe even lose against Arsenal, I'd be okay with that. Like, we're not going to damage Arsenal. We're not in competition with them. It'd be great to draw against Arsenal, but I think realistically, we're probably going to more likely draw against United. More likely. Don't come for me. Just my predictions. It's all speculation. Right. Anyone know why we haven't brought back Mikey Moore from Rangers? I think he's ready. Has he really done much, though, for Rangers? I've watched Mikey Moore at least 20 times this year, and he needs to bulk out. Another year at Rangers will do him good. Yeah, I agree with you, John. I agree. I think Mikey Moore is a young player. He needs time. He needs... Look, the Scottish League is not as competitive. He did very good. He was part of that Europa winning squad. I think that's great for his confidence. But can you imagine if he came back in now and was fighting for that left place, would tell and Moani. Like, he's not going to get into the squad, but also he's just going to come back and sit on the bench. And the thing is, with a young player, you need to give them first team minutes. You need to give young players first team minutes to build up. If he comes back to us, Mikey Moore's not going to see a game from now to the end of the season. Does anyone disagree with me? Does anyone disagree with me on that? Do you think if we brought back Mikey Moore, he makes it into the Champions League squad over Tell? Because you've got two spaces. You've got two spaces, and I think you take Tell over Mikey Moore, surely. So then Mikey Moore's stuck on the bench. So you might as well sit him in the first team and let him play. They should have walked out at full time, 100% success. Yeah, well, most people did stay there for the final whistle yesterday. Oh, deep fried Mars bar. That sounds tasty. We've had a few good Welsh players at our club. Fertile ground for THFC. Why? Who's coming in? Have we just bought someone? Let me check. We haven't bought anyone. Chelsea recalled Sarr to the club. No one cares about Chelsea. Give us the Tottenham news. Emil Holmes signed at Juventus on a 6-month loan. It doesn't, guys, I don't think anyone's signing. I'm just checking the feed. Has anyone had any news? Doesn't look like it. What else are you guys saying in the chat? If we had a full strength squad, no injuries, we wouldn't so much be moaning about transfers. We'd be 9 points at least better off. Yeah, I'd agree with that. If we had squad rotation, if we had proper squad rotation, but this is the same conversation we had last year. This is like deja vu. It's the same conversation last year. We all said last year, look, this time last year, we bought Dragusin, probably literally round about now, at the same time as last year. We bought Dragusin and Kinski as emergency buys because Vicario broke his ankle and we had both of our centre-backs out. You know, this is where we were this time last year. And then we bought in Dragusin and then he got injured. And so we still had to play Gray and Davis at centre-back. So nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. And that's exactly why I said the squad haven't had enough time to recover fully. You know, you saw Solanke was probably injured at the back end of last year. So the fact that he was injured at the back end maybe of last year and was carrying an injury on his ankle, because we heard for so many months that he wasn't great and we thought it was something minor and it turned out to be something quite serious. I think he probably knew there was something wrong. So the club just the players haven't had a time to properly recover, you know. It's just been back to back to back. And when you just think that they're going to have a break, all of our players go out on international leave. Like pretty much all of our players are in international squads. You know what I mean? Like they all play first team football. Sarr's going to the bloody AFCON, for God's sake, you know. So there is no time at all. Going to Australia this summer. You've got World Cup football this summer. Like, when are you going to recover? And then you come back and play 2 games a week until December. It's madness. Madness. But yes, I agree. If we had a full strength squad, I think Frank would be getting more grace. I think if you had like a Richie to come on yesterday when Solanke had to go off, you know, if you could bring on Odebear or you had Porro instead of Gray at right back, you'd be so much better off. If you had Mickey van der Ven instead of Paulinho in the squad yesterday playing at centre-back, that would have been better. Paulinho would have also played in midfield, you know? No Gareth Bale, Mike England, Ben Davis, Simon Davis. Don't know what that was in relation to. If we don't get anything out of the remaining games, Arsenal, Man U and Newcastle, I will lose it. Well, Yusuf, I would prepare yourself. I would prepare yourself because there is every possibility that we don't take anything from any of those 3 games. So I would brace yourself. Or do you know what the more likely scenario is? The more likely scenario is we do something stupid like lose against United, beat Newcastle, and then we lose against Fulham. Like that would be Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? That would be Tottenham. We like lose against Fulham and beat Newcastle. Like we can't, we don't have the consistency. We just don't. And the Newcastle game is Tuesday night, so we play United Saturday, and then we've got that midweek game again, and then you've got Arsenal. So it is jam packed, even though there's no international. Have we bought anyone yet, guys? 5 minutes to go. What do we think is the reason for all the injuries? Last season, everyone blamed Angeball. So what's the problem now? Bad luck, bad team, Frank. I think it's just we're thin on the ground. I think we're just playing twice a week. I think when you're playing a game every 3 days and you've only got your first like one squad fit, and we haven't even got one player in each position fit. Our right back, we don't have everyone fit. We don't even know what's going on with Spence. Has anyone heard what happened? Spence was Spence a thigh injury? I know Danso was a toe injury. I can't remember what Spencer's. Does anyone know what Spencer's injury is? If that's a long-term one or if that's like a short-term one? I can't remember if that was muscular. I did hear news at the game yesterday, but I don't know if that was a serious one. But yeah, I think we're just stretched. I think we've taken on more than we can chew right now, and I just think that we need to recover the squad, because this has been a long ongoing problem. Everyone blamed Angeball, but it was a problem before Angeball. It was a problem under Conte ball when we were playing twice a week as well. When Conte wasn't in Europe, we were winning more games. But when we were in Europe, we still had that consistency problem. And I just think we just haven't been able to get into the motion of playing every 3 days and getting everyone fit in a place where you can stop the stop this cycle that just keeps happening. Like no one's fit, so it's in certain positions, so then you're overstretching. Like so yesterday, for example, as I said before, you're playing Romero who's ill. You know, you're playing Gray who's injured, you're playing Solanke who's injured. Like that's not helping the squad, so you can never get in front of the injuries. Hey Bo. Bao? Is that how you pronounce your name? Bao? Bao. I've got a friend called Bao, so maybe it's Bao. Or maybe it's Bo. But hey Bogart. Hi Sarah, I'm a Spurs fan from Denmark. Hello from Denmark. Can you maybe give Thomas Frank a call and tell him to buy some players? Maybe you can tell him in Danish. Maybe he'll listen more than he'll listen to us. Actually, not even Frank, because Frank's not in charge. Frank's not in charge of the transfers. Maybe can you give Lange a call and tell Lange to get a move on, because he's got 5 minutes. That'd be great. Could the injuries be to do with turf grass at the stadium and training ground? Do you know what, Domenico? I wish I could feature this comment, because we actually had exactly the same conversation on the way to the game yesterday. We were saying the same thing. That is obviously at Spurs, we have a particularly bad injury crisis, but it's also true to say that there have been injuries or more injuries across the Premier League than typically normal. So we were saying that, is it down to first of all, the temperature? So because it's so cold, maybe there's more injuries going around, but I don't think that's true. I mean, like, look at Dancer. He said that the rainy weather is his favorite type of weather. You know, Haaland, he's from the North Cirque, you know, the North Cirque. Oh God, he's not from the North Cirque, but he's from up north. But look, these players, they're from all over Europe. You know, they play in all different types of weather conditions. So I don't think it's the weather, but I think there might be something true to say about the turf and the grass in the stadium and maybe the training ground and the pressure on maybe certain ligaments or certain muscles, because we have a lot of muscular injuries and they're long-term injuries, and we have a lot of physios. So I agree, it doesn't make sense. And look, we have the state-of-the-art training facility, but maybe, just maybe, there is something going on at that training facility that we don't know about. 50 watching, but only 22 likes. Come on, guys. Yeah. Like it, subscribe it, share it, please. I mean, I can see there's more likes than that, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm using the dodgy YouTube, not StreamYard, but I can see there's more like 50 likes. So if we can get it up from 50, that'd be great. If Frank had a full squad, yes. Why do you think Frank won't give Vicario a rest? No rotation there. If Vicario is so good and gets injured, he can't think much of reserve keepers. Kinski was worth a few games. So Kinski was worth a few games, and Kinski started in our cup games. But we lost both of those. If we would have progressed in the cups, Kinski would have played. Well, we got beat by Newcastle and we got beat by Villa. So, unfortunately, if you're not in the competition, then you can't play your reserve keeper. But you're not going to play Kinski in Champions League. But yeah, I think if... oh no, he didn't play Kinski in the FA Cup. He played him in the Carabao against Newcastle, didn't he? And we lost. So it's not great. I'm just checking, guys. Checking the news. We don't care about these deals because there's no relevance to us. No. Okay, guys. I think it's safe to say nothing's going to happen. I think it's safe to say nothing's going to happen. No, I meant from our past. Yesterday showed if can't get anything from West Ham, Brentford, Sunderland, Bournemouth, let's be Robin Hood and rob the rich, the Manchester's, Newcastle and Arsenal. I mean, Youssef, that is Spurs. That is Spurs. That is what we do. I remember the days where we were like losing to West Brom and then we'd go and draw against Arsenal. Like that is Spurs. We are one of those teams that plays better against big teams. We're one of those teams that plays better against big teams. And potentially that's why we even play better in Champions League or European football, because it's for some reason, I don't know whether it's about the culture. I think it might maybe have something to do with the culture of the club. But we definitely play better against bigger teams, I'd say. I think so. Yeah, that's typical Spurs, that. Wasn't last year the same? I don't think we beat Wolves last year either. So I think last year was much better. Sarah, please tell me why all these injuries. I'm so sorry, Paulie Paul. You are poorly. Have you called yourself that because we have so many injuries? I hope not. Why can't the match-going fans support the team in bad times? Bringing the team has never helped anything. I understand the frustration, but look at the Dortmund fans. They kept supporting the team. Yeah, I mean, look, Bo, I know you're from Denmark, and I did do a whole video all on quoting someone, a fellow Scandinavian of yours, who wrote into the channel here and told us about the different atmosphere across Europe and how it's different from the UK. And I agree that the atmosphere is dire inside the stadium. However, it is very different on Champions League days. It is very different. Champions League evenings, should I say. And I think that's for a various number of reasons. I also noticed yesterday there was a lot of kids there yesterday, more than normal. And bearing in mind, I've been going to the stadium, like in my seat in this stadium since it opened. So I'm familiar with like sort of who sits around us and stuff. And there was definitely more youngsters. And I wonder whether that's because a lot of tickets were put on the exchange. And the people who can get discounts are the juniors. And this is why they need a student discount. They need a youth concession. We are missing out so bad by not having a student concession, because the youngsters also bring the atmosphere. The youngsters, the 18 to 25-year-olds, they're the ones who, are up for a night out and, want to go to Champions League and create the atmosphere. So I think that also plays into it. But yeah, It's common in England for teams to boo. Yesterday, Crystal Palace booed off their fans at halftime, booed off their players at halftime. Chelsea, they booed off their players at halftime against West Ham. Arsenal, they booed off their players at full time against United. So it's not just a Spurs problem. The challenge is getting up for the team and supporting the team. And I think for Spurs fans, because we've seen this so many times before, we've just had enough, and it's hard. I mean, look, if anyone heard me shouting on the TV yesterday, I was screaming, but you had the odd voices, giving the team a lift. But yeah, unless you get everyone into song, it is very hard. And when you're 2-0 down, you have nothing to sing about. You have nothing to sing about. Spurs is the kind of club where, like, show us what you're made of, show us what you're made of. But doesn't seem to transpire. I think that UEFA has increased the games in Europe, but they in the Premier League need to reevaluate the squad size rules. That's the only way everyone gets less injuries. Yeah, so that's been suggested by a lot of managers. Even Pep suggested that, hasn't he? Arteta suggested that. Ange suggested that. Frank suggested that. There's a lot of managers that have said that. The grass looks quite long in the stadium. I don't know how long. Yeah, North Cirque. I didn't mean to say North Cirque. Didn't mean to say North Cirque. Yeah, it's a hybrid pitch. Yeah, we have a hybrid pitch. So it's not fully grass, the pitch. And I think maybe that's a question, right? Is it the fact that it's because it's not a full grass pitch is one of the reasons why players are getting so injured? I also believe squad sizes should be increased. They are playing so much more now, and squad size would reflect that. Yeah, I agree. Okay, guys, just give me 1 second so I don't burn the casserole. Give me 1 second. I'll be back in 1 second, and then we're going to wrap up the transfer stuff. Just give me 1 minute. Apologies, guys. Apologies. Thanks for sticking around. It's that time of the evening. Works out. Transfer window's closed. That's it. That is it, guys. So our window roundup is, let's just do a quick window roundup. I know this wasn't a proper full debrief of the game, but I'll see if I can clip up little bits. So to round up, Mason Melia from St Patrick's Athletic. He was brought in, our 18-year-old striker. We had Conor Gallagher, of course, who was brought in for 34 million. We had Souza, who I think was about 5 million, I believe. We also had Elisha Suwunmi, who was the academy striker. We've just had word of, was it James Wilson? So that's 3 youth players, 3 youth strikers we've bought, 3 youth strikers. So maybe that in itself is a lack of planning, because why are you bringing in 3 youth strikers? That's bizarre. Anyway, Dane Scarlett gone out on loan to Hibernian. I think he was about 1.7 million, something like that, maybe 2 million euros. We had Demola Ajayi, if anyone remembers him from last year. I think he played against Elfsborg in the Europa for us. He has gone to Bromley out on loan until May. We had Yang Min Hyuk, who moved, so he went to Coventry. We had Jamie Donnelly, who unfortunately got injured in that first game, and now he's back. So he went to Oxford United. We had Manos Solomon, who went to Fiorentina to go and join our very own Paratici, who's not our very own Paratici anymore. We had Kota Takai, who went to Mönchengladbach. He went for about 10 million. He's on loan until June. So you've got Manos Solomon is still on our books. So is Takai. So is Donnelly. So is Yang. So all these players are still on our books, but obviously they don't fit in our squad. And then we had Brennan Johnson, who was our main big sale in this window that went, I think it was about just under 40 million pounds in the end. Wasn't it about 35? So we basically sold Johnson and bought in Gallagher and bought in some youngsters. But other than that, there's been a lot of loan movement. There's been a lot of reshuffle in the academy. But unfortunately, we haven't managed to get in the attacker that we wanted. We haven't managed to get in any cover at the back. We didn't manage to get that left back cover that we wanted in Robertson as well. What sort of casserole am I having? It's kind of like a meatball casserole. It's a bit random, but I knew I was doing this, so I didn't want to have to think about dinner. So I threw everything in a pot and it just like got shoved in. So like loads of healthy veggies and some veggie stuff and some stock and yeah. So that's the roundup. Why can't we sell Solomon? I don't know, because Solomon as well. Solomon is 26, so he's also coming into his prime. He has scored for Fiorentina. He's played 6 games for them since he's gone out on loan, and he has scored for them already. So maybe he's not the best finisher, but it is bizarre. But I think, didn't we get him on a free as well with Solomon? So maybe we're trying to get a profit or something. Someone said in the chat, we can sign him after the deadline as he is a free agent. I presume you're talking about Sterling. And yes, Sterling, I think if players are free agents, you can still sign them after the transfer window. So I'm not sure when that deadline is. The deadline for, window is open until 11 p.m. in Scotland. Hi, Niall. I don't know if that means that we can still sign players until then. But just to say, the window for the Champions League squad is open until the 5th. So you've got a couple of days to make it, or Frank's got a couple of days, because ultimately you've got Gallagher's going to go into that squad. And then you've got to choose between Dragusin, Tell and Bissouma, who's going to go in that squad. If we were to bring in Sterling, would he go in as well? Or would he go in instead of someone else? So that's the challenge you have, because there was something about the homegrown, because you've got to take players out. And I don't know how many of our players are long-term injuries. Like the long-term injury players aren't in our Champions League squad. Like Kulu and Maddison aren't in it. So is Bentancur going to be back? Is Bergvall going to be back this season? It's unlikely, but your 2 definite players that you're taking out is going to be Davis and Johnson. So There's still decisions to be made, and maybe Sterling is a player. Look, if you're going to get him on a free, is he my first choice? Absolutely not. Is he going to bring experience into the dressing room that we need right now? Yes, he is. Is he another body that could potentially replace that gap that Dane Scarlett left? Yes, he is. But would Sterling come and sit on the bench for Champions League? Raheem the Dream as a squad player will be great. We're lacking in the wings. Yes, but that's the thing. If you bring in Raheem Sterling now, does he go into the Champions League squad? Or do you put Tell in? Because I think you put Tell in. He's our player, and we've convinced him to stay, but then he's not good enough. So it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. It's like the lesser of two evils. No one's outstanding. No one's proved themselves. And he's got 3 days to make a decision about who to bring into the Champions League squad. So, maybe that also affected who they were going to buy as well. But look, this was a below average transfer window for us. Unless we bring in a Scottish player. Who are we bringing in from Scotland, Niall? Who are we bringing in from Scotland? Probably no one. I think Sterling could do a job. One, he'd want to prove himself, and there's a World Cup, and Tuchel took him to Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, he's played with Gallagher as well, I suppose. They've played in the same team, haven't they? Sterling is joining a team abroad. It's been announced on TalkSport. Another one bites the dust. Thanks for that, Ronnie. We haven't got the radio on here, so interesting to know that TalkSport is saying that. I'm guessing that there's no more movement. When you are ever in Kenya, just hit me up. I will show you our local casserole called what's it called? Tumbukiza. You'll never be going back. Can it be vegetarian? My friend's from Kenya. She loves making her dumplings and stuff. Sterling hasn't played for ages, so it'll take a while. Yeah, apparently, Richard, Sterling has just gone abroad or is going abroad. I think what most fans don't understand, you just can't sign an infinite number of players. We might have 12 players out, but they still need paying. And look at the problems with telling Solanke. And yes, this is the point I'm making. It is a difficult situation. It is. And just to say, I don't know if Kate and Jimbo, if they're still in the chat, but the other day I saw that Jimbo hadn't made lunch and he was having to have biscuits for lunch. So I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't want biscuits for dinner. I'm going to make a casserole. So there you go, Kate. If you want something easy to stick in the oven, pre-chopped casserole. Right. No Sterling shows no ambition. Kane is not coming back. No, unfortunately, Kane is not coming back. Kane will be back for the World Cup when he plays for England, but he will not be back for Tottenham Hotspur, unfortunately. Biggest problem is lack of bodies. If Tel or Odebek gets injured, what's our wing option? Well, I don't know how long Kudus is still out for. But Kudus wasn't a long-term injury, was it? Kudus was like a mid-term injury. I don't think Kudus was out. I don't think Kudus was Kudus. Oh, Kudus is out until April. Kudus is out until April. Maddison's out until June. Bentancur's out till May. Davis is out till April. Bergval's out till April. And we heard yesterday, someone said yesterday that Bergval had an operation. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's true, but we heard that Bergval had an operation. Richarlison supposedly will be back for the Arsenal game. Fingers crossed. Solanke is obviously back. Romero's out with illness, so we hope he's back next game. Mickey is a minor one, and he was predicted to be back next game. Jed has a minor calf injury, and he will hopefully be back for next game. Decky, there is no return date just yet. No, I've just seen Job. You've just put in the comments. Maybe Kudasevsky is back this month. No, Kulu's had a setback. Kulu will not be back. Kulu might not even be back this season, if at all ever. He has a career-threatening injury, and it's really, really serious. Either he shattered his patella or he shattered his kneecap or something, but there isn't a fix for it, unfortunately, and he's still having injections for the pain. And if the pain is still there, what we've heard on the grapevine is that it's really serious for Kulu, very sadly. But there is that possibility, unfortunately, for Kulu that he's not going to. Well, look, I don't want to say it, but we heard Kulu was going to be back this month or last month. We heard he was going to be back last year, and unfortunately for Kulusevski, there's no return date as of right now, according to Prem Injuries. So I don't think that's going to happen. And the other one. Am I playing in the background? And the other one is Danso. Yeah, we don't know about Danso. We don't know how serious Danso. He's hyperextended his big toe, which could mean anything. That could be something minor. It could be something more serious. But at the moment, he's ruled out because we don't know exactly when he's back. So look, all in all, a lot of players out. The transfer window was not as we expected it. If you guys in the chat, if you were to rate this transfer window out of 10, what would you give it? What would you give this transfer window if you're watching and you are accessible to the keyboard? What would you give this transfer window out of 10? Sarah, in your opinion, how do you really prefer if you had to let one go, Richie or Moani? Oh, who would I let go? Can we let go of them both? Richie is the better player from what we've seen so far. However, he's not reliable enough and he's injured too much. So on that basis, I would probably take Moani on the basis that maybe he could get more consistency and with the hope that he would settle in and bed in and start clicking, because Richie's already had his time at Spurs. Richie has already had his time. He's been here for years. He's never had a full season fit. He's never been our top striker for us. He's played second fiddle, and he's unfortunately, I love his character. He's such a character. He makes his scrambled eggs on TikTok, and I'm very happy for him, but he's out injured too much. When he came in, he had a dead leg. I think that was unfortunate, but I would probably let Richie go because I also think we could get more money for him because Moani's just on loan. So at least then you could get some money for Richie and maybe buy someone else. That's my opinion. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Maybe you'd get rid of Moani. But at this point in time, I'd probably get rid of Richie, take the money, buy someone else, and then figure out Moani later. Danso has been said from 6 weeks to 6 months. Really, Boris? 6 months? Oh my God, for a hyperextension to the toe. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? Someone call up Spurs. Tell them they need some somatic coaching. I'll go in. Okay, so I'm just looking at, I asked for anyone joining. I asked out of 10, what do you rate this transfer window? And there is a lot of 3s. There is a lot of 3s out of 10s. One for participation. Oh God. Thank God we've got insurance. It's like insuring your wedding ring. It's like insuring your right foot, you know? Wasn't there something at the time when Gareth Bale used to play that he had his left foot insured or something crazy? Who was it? What player was it that had their ligaments insured for like multi-millions and billions or something like that? It was like the most expensive left foot. Does anyone remember that? Am I making it up? I swear that was one of our players. Good evening, Wayne. Hello, Wayne. Sorry if I just shouted. Hi, Wayne. Hello. Wayne is one of the Coys Collective tribe. He's one of the Coys Collective tribe, and we have a couple of others who I gave shout outs as well. So if any of you other Coys Collective members are in the chat, hello and welcome. If you're just snooping, if you're shy and just sitting back and watching the members chat, yes, I am going to try and resolve the dodgy connections through StreamYard for the next stream. I'm going to try and get hold of StreamYard and see if I can fix that. The other thing I'm going to do, guys, is yesterday, some of you on my matchday vlog commented that during the game, they had on the billboards the Arsenal logo flash up. Now, I didn't see that flash up. However, some of you said in the extended highlights on the Spurs Play app, you could see it. So I went and investigated, and I found that the billboard flashed with the Arsenal logo at 7 minutes 16, as you guys said in the chat, and I've screenshot it, and I am going to be getting in touch with Spurs. I'm going to be getting in touch with Spurs. Spurs and I, we're going to be having a chat. Not that the customer service desk really give two, but I'm going to have a word with them. I'm going to tell them the Spurs in the Stands community are not happy that you are showing the Arsenal logo during a game and you are making a mockery of us. And I want to know why you are showing Conor Gallagher in the Chelsea shirt. And I want it escalated. I want it escalated to management. I want it forwarded to management. And do you know what? If that doesn't work, I'm going to get in touch with the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. Hello, if anyone's watching from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, please do get back to me and reply to my email. And if anyone's watching this and you are a member of the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, please tell them that I'm trying to get in touch, because I think something like this needs to be brought to them so that they can put pressure on the board. Forget change for Tottenham. The only people that Tottenham want to deal with is Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. So yeah, go Sarah. Yeah, because change happens when you're working with the club. You know, change happens when it's a collaborative approach. And look, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's terrible. It's so bad. What an embarrassment are we? Honestly, Chelsea shirts, making mess ups on the Spurs app, putting the Arsenal logo in the stadium when it's not even in reference to the game. I mean, it's just a joke. Oh, Wayne, you just gifted someone membership. That's so nice. Welcome, Steve. Steve A, 1882. Welcome to the Coys Collective members. Guys, I know the emojis are quite small. I'm like looking into how I can make those emojis bigger. And the little badges, I'm looking into how I can make them bigger because they're not very clear. When I've got the black screen on my phone, you know, like the dark mode, I can see it. But when it goes into light mode, I can't. So I don't know if you guys can see that. But yeah, congrats. Thanks, Wayne. Welcome, Steve A. Welcome to the tribe. We are strongly building our tribe. We finally got a left back. Who is our left back? Well, it looks like, I tell you what, David Peters, it looks like Sousa hasn't gone out on loan. Sousa has not gone out on loan. So maybe he is going to be playing. Maybe he is the cover for that spot. That was probably forced because we heard Robertson was supposed to be left back. So I reckon that was forced. Hi from South Florida. Did we sign anyone? Good morning to South Florida. Good morning. Unfortunately, the news is no. We signed James Wilson, a 18-year-old striker from Hearts. That's what you've missed. That's what you've missed. We've signed an 18-year-old striker. Oh, I'm so sorry, Australia, and for America, and for you, America, should I say? And for those of you in Australia, you're on tomorrow, and nothing changes tomorrow either because you're still going to wake up and we haven't signed anyone. And the mole leaking the team. Yes, Job. Yes, I'm on it. I don't know how, but with the power of this community, Like I want to help influence positive change, I do genuinely. Like I'm not just saying it. I know people think I'm like being some kind of like lick ass or something, but I'm really not. Like I care about my club. I'm a season ticket holder, So yeah, I want to see change. And the only way you can do that is if you complain and you make it heard. Crazy story, which is completely random, but just for the you guys here who have stuck around this long, maybe I'll retell this another time. But my grandfather, so my grandfather used to go to Spurs, like my late grandfather, he was born in like 1930s, and he used to go back in the day, way before sponsorships. And back in the day, he wrote into Spurs, he wrote them a letter, and he asked them, can I sponsor the match day football? And they said, no, because we don't accept sponsorships. So look how times change in 30 years. Tottenham Hotspur said, no, you couldn't sponsor the match day ball. And now you can't blink without seeing sponsorship. Paul, don't feel sick. Have you caught Romero's bug? I hope you haven't caught Romero's bug. Thanks, John. John Shivers says you're getting good at these live, Sarah. Yeah, well, we did have some technical glitches. And I'm still trying to navigate why StreamYard is not playing ball, because this seems to be working fine. I've even moved my Wi-Fi router. I've closed down all of my background stuff. So there's no reason why StreamYard shouldn't be streaming in HD. So I need to look into that because it's really annoying. What I'm using right now is YouTube, and it's not good because I can't feature any of your messages, which is really annoying. Yeah, power to the people, power to the fans. Screw leaving the game at 75 minutes. We need to get on the inside of this club. We need to get on the inside of this club, I swear. Do you think I can infiltrate? Do you think I can infiltrate? Try and get on the side. Okay, my dinner's about to, my casserole is about to buzz, guys. The window has left us weaker, but on the flip side, our young players are getting a lot of game time. I know that's a good thing. But yeah, we need to be patient. I know it's hard, but we need to be positive and big up the team in the stadium. Yes, William P. I think one thing is for sure. Against Arsenal, Spurs fans will be united. Against Arsenal, it will be a different atmosphere because we don't show division when we're against our rivals. It's a really strange thing that happens, but it happens. So I think when we play Arsenal, you will see a different stadium. Personally, I could be completely wrong, but look, if we're down at 4-0 at half time, people will start to get tetchy. But there's something about when you play your biggest rivals, it's a different game. And those are the games where you show how strong you are. So it's a funny one. And that's why I said sometimes we can play better against the big teams. John! Welcome, John Maps. Welcome to the Coys Collective tribe. By the way, how do we feel about Coys Collective as the name of the tribe? 1 second. Let me just sort out the buzzer. How do we feel about the Coys Collective tribe name? Are we on board with that one? Yeah. Are we on board with the Coys Collective tribe? Do we like that? Greetings from the USA. Enjoyed the video from Sunday. Love the Spurs positivity. We try. Look, I know sometimes we lose games and it's annoying, but that definitely wasn't as bad as the West Ham game. My God, that was awful drive home. Wayne. Hey, Wayne. Enoch didn't think the team was hit too bad with injuries. They're focusing on the summer window when players will be more available after the World Cup. Yeah, I kind of think that too. You like the name? Oh, yay! You like the name. Big up, John. A pleasure. Welcome aboard. I need to sort out these memberships as well. But I like that you like the name. Hope dinner's not burning. Don't worry, it's casserole. You can leave it in there overnight. No, joking. I just turned the buzzer off. 1 second. What absolutely diabolical negligence. Yes. If Surreal McCoys, we just did a vote in the chat and most people said it was a 3 out of 10. There's something dodgy's going on with the oven. Right. Been here since your first stream. I love your approach. Oh, thanks, John. Do you know what? I didn't think I would be doing this. I didn't think I would be doing this year. And I kind of forget that I have a job. Not a job, but I run a business. So I actually rather doing this. I had to go into a company the other day and talk about financial coaching and talk about how to invest your money and save more money and, create financial freedom. And I love that stuff. I love helping people and helping people just find their purpose in life and achieve their goals. And, I believe whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. But I didn't expect to enjoy doing this as much as I do. So when I had to go in and do a talk last week about property purchases, and I was dreading it. I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. But no, it's interesting. I do like it, but it's just second nature now. So it's nice to have a new challenge. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And these will get better. And I am going to contact StreamYard. And I am going to contact Spurs, someone at Spurs. And I am going to, if anyone does know anyone from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, drop it in the comments or something. Get in touch. I'm on X because I did email them and they didn't email me back. So, that was annoying. Where can we send our AI Koi's collective generated logos? In the chat. I think if you just press the smiley face, you can see them there. Aren't they so cute? I mean, they look really good from my side, but from your side, they might look really bad. So I need to see how I can make them bigger. I found refuge here when everyone else was frank out. And do you know what, John? Do you know what? All of those people now who jumped on that trending train because it was trending, they're now coming to terms with the fact that Frank's going to be here till the end of the season. Aren't they? So it just goes to show you that all those people that jumped on the train, because it was trending, because it was cool and Frank needs to get out and the tactics were bad for, a few games, now they've changed their tune because they're like, oh, actually, now we've finished in the top 8 of the Champions League. Maybe it's not as bad as we thought. Maybe there are other things going on. Maybe now we realize that behind the scenes, the whole board has changed and the whole company's changed. Koi's from the stands instead of collective. We could go with that. When it comes to Sousa, if Brighton brought him, turn him into a £60 million player, we'd all be like, why didn't we sign him? Trust the process. Do you know what, though, John? The more likelihood is he becomes good and then we sell him when he becomes a £60 million player. Because that's what we've done with Archie Gray, haven't we? Archie Gray, he's about 60 mil, 50 mil. I mean, we're hoping that one day he's going to be a 100 mil player and we'll probably just sell him on. Can we keep hold of our talent? That is what we need to do. We need to keep hold of our talent. Everyone wants to get rid of Porro, but we need to keep hold of these players. Porro is one of the leaders. Porro is one of our leaders. You can't get rid of everyone. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You can't upgrade on everyone in one season, right? You can't buy 12 players in one season. But you've got to have some rotation. You need time to bed in as well. Okay, so in roundup, Sarah, I wish I could say that I was surprised or upset, but I'm just numb. This team is a joke, and until the team is sold, we will never achieve anything. Do you mean until the club is sold, Roy? Do you mean until the club is sold? I don't know. We were talking about this last night as well. Koi's and casserole. Casserole in the dinner. Yeah. Still on. Potatoes aren't done. I wish I could say that I was surprised. Yeah. The thing is, though, the club is going to take a while to sell, guys. The Club is going to take a while to sell. And I can see Levy selling before. I can see Levy selling. Look, there's obviously something going on in the background between the Lewis family and the Levy family. There's obviously something going on because he's not selling his shares to the Levy family, to the Lewis family. So either they don't have the money or there's something going on in the background, or maybe they can get a better deal, or they want more leverage, or maybe they want more investment. Sarah, some of the football under Frank is abhorrent, but with the right backing, I have a gut feeling about him. But Enoch will let him down. So honestly, I was never in favour of Frank. I know you guys are all like, oh, Sarah, you're so positive about Frank. I was never Frank in. That's the irony of all of this. I was never Frank in. I was always willing to give Ange until December, but that's the way it played out. And that's just the way I see it. Now I think to myself, well, he is the manager and I don't love the football, but it is getting incrementally better game on game. And considering we have all these injuries, it's clearly not a manager problem. So you might as well just back him. Like you might as well just see it out to the end of the season, you know? And look, yesterday it was a comeback. And for those of you that turned it off at half time, you probably saw the result at the end and you're probably like, oh, wait, hang on a minute. This is Tottenham. This is who we are. You know, we can do a comeback against City. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah, you're right. But don't forget, the problem at our club is systems, all different managers. What different systems? Hence, we are rotating players to suit a different system. Hence why we regress. Yeah, exactly. We keep getting rid of the managers. So it's like you need to get, at some point, you need to get consistency. You know, you need to stable the ship. You need to create the direction and stabilize things. Because it doesn't help the squad. It's like, you know, working in a job and every 3 weeks you have a new manager. And you're like, what the hell is going on? Like no work ever gets done. It's like a meeting about a meeting about a meeting. And you're like, when are we actually going to do the work? You know, that's what changing managers is like. It's like you have all this discussion, you know, it's the same. Vinay, Lange are probably sitting there. Oh, should we keep Frank? Should we not? Lange is like, oh, he's my mate. And meanwhile, Lange hasn't brought anyone in. I wonder if Lange goes. God, I can't wait for Rafi to come in. I don't know anything about Rafi, but he better do something. He better do something. It can't be any worse than this dross. It can't be any worse than this. Rafi cannot do any worse in this transfer window. Surely. If you've got 150 mil in your back pocket in summer. Anyway. I am going to go in a minute, guys. Give me 5 minutes. Yeah, you're right. But don't forget the problem at our club is, where were we? I wanted Xavi Hernandez in the summer. We wanted a lot of players in the summer. Gray has the potential to be one of the best midfielders in the world. The amount of pressure that's been on the lad's head. And I see a big improvement in Gray. I agree with that. I think Gray has got better. And the same as Bentancur. I think when Gray, Bergvall and Xavi play in the middle with Odegaard, and Udogie in the team as well, we look so lively. The problem is the lack of experience. And that's why you need a Gallagher, a Paulinho, a Bissouma in the squad, because otherwise you've got a spine of really young players. But if that spine grows with the team, Bergvall, Gray and Xavi with Odegaard on the right and Udogie on the left wing, I'd take that all day long in 5 years' time. In 5 years' time, in their prime, when they're 25, can you imagine? But unfortunately, we've got to sit and wait for 5 years for that to happen. And the likelihood is by then you're going to have a different manager, and the likelihood is by then you're going to sell them. And that is the problem, you know, keeping those good players. What did I say? Xavi Hernandez. What did I say? When I first started supporting Spurs, we were relegated and they didn't sack Birkinshaw. And we went on to win 2 FA Cups back-to-back and UEFA League trophy to boot. Exactly. And I think that's what people thought about Ange. But anyway, all right, guys, we've been going for almost 2 hours. And considering the fact that when we started this stream, we had no one bought. And by the time we finished, I'm sorry to tell you, but the only person we bought was James Wilson, who was an 18-year-old striker who is supposedly very, very good, but he's one for the future. So it's going to be the same squad next weekend. We can do a debrief around that. I know we touched on bits from the game. This was a bit of an informal match debrief, I guess. I'm going to see if I can clip this back. I don't know if this is going to let me clip this back. This must just be a replay. So I'm still learning all the tech and stuff behind the scenes. So I appreciate you bearing with me. Welcome to all our new members. I don't know if I can remember all the names. If I can give you a very quick shout out. Can I do that? Is it updated yet? I don't know how quite fast these things are. So Wayne, Spurs 63, Silent Dove Pictures, John McBaps, and Steve A 1882. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the tribe. And thanks for the super chats, guys. Thank you. Sorry if I've missed anything. I've been trying to keep on top of things, but yeah, the chat's been flying. So I appreciate you all. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you all. I will get back to you and let you know what I discover when I speak to Spurs. Do you think they're going to answer the phone to me? Oh my God. Guys, we're almost at 2,000 followers. We are almost subscribers of the channel. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you are new here and you have not subscribed, please, please subscribe to the channel. I don't want to sound beggy, but it does help the channel. We are so close. We're about like 80 people away from 2,000. And it's our 1 month anniversary on Thursday. So can we get to 2,000 by Thursday? I said 2,500. Depends on the algorithm, but let's see. But yeah, thanks all for joining. I am your pronunciation Lange as Sar instead of Sarah. You pronounce Lange as Sar instead of Sarah. Huh? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Cool. Back your manager, back your team. Support you. Support can work wonders. Yes, I will try, John, and take that energy with me into the game. Thank you all, guys, for this evening. I'm going to see if I can sort this stream out and all of that jazz. But I appreciate you all, and I'll see you all tomorrow to debrief everything. Bye for now.